welcome back to Christravaganza. Today I watched Battle for Terra. It's a battle over this planet that humans are calling Terra, but it's not actually called Terra, between humans and the natives of the planet that the humans are calling Terrarians. The villain of the movie is a white guy who leads the military and is all about preserving the future of humanity by any means necessary. Instead of attempting to work with them from the beginning, this military guy just wants to eliminate them. I had never heard of this movie before this project. This was the first time that I had ever even been aware that Battle for Terra was a movie that exists. But would you like to know who's in it? Evan Rachel Wood plays the main character, an alien named Mala. Luke Wilson plays the main, protagonist, sort of. I'll get to that. Danny Trejo is in it. Ron Perlman. David Krumholtz. Dennis Quaid. Amanda Peet. Justin Long. Mark Hamill and Danny Glover. James Garner. The cast for this movie is pretty star-studded, and I just had never heard of this movie. Battle for Terra was released in 2007, and it was directed by Aristomenes Serbas. Okay, the first pro is that it was free on YouTube. This is the third movie that I've seen in this series that either takes place in space or involves space and space travel, the other two being Sunshine and Fantastic Four. The CGI, from the trailer and the promos and stuff, the CGI didn't look great, but it really wasn't that bad. I liked it when it came to the Terrians, the aliens in this movie. Their animation was very fluid, the rendering was done really well. The animators clearly very much cared about what they were making, and I appreciated that. Like I said, Justin Long is in this, and it's just been too long since I've watched a movie with Justin Long in it.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking now? Because clearly it's time to go back.
I know his face isn't in it or anything, but I like Justin Long. Mala, Evan Rachel Wood's character, does the Tinkerbell thing where she is an inventor and she's very curious, and the society that she lives in has very strict rules as far as how far she can take her inventing or what kind of boundaries they set for behavior and such, and there's a reason for all of that. But Mala throughout the movie is just
I bet I could make something to help me look closer.
Mala, you know that's forbidden.
But why?
There's a tiny robot sidekick named Giddy, and he's my favorite character.
I must say, this is not very pleasant.
Finally, a space movie that actually acknowledges that other planets don't have oxygen.
Lieutenant Stanton requires oxygen. Gaseous chemical element. Vital for respiration.
But also, I don't want to say provides possible solutions to that problem, because A, it's only a problem for beings that require oxygen for life, like humans, and B, I don't really know what the science behind these options are. The movie is just kind of well, Mala knows how to create oxygen to sustain human life. So Mala brings Lieutenant Stanton back to her house and creates this little oxygen environment for him so that he can, restore his health and eventually help her save her planet. Giddy tells her that
he is frightened.
I scare him.
And she doesn't really understand that concept because while her people understand what fear is, they're a peaceful planet, they're a peaceful people, so she doesn't really understand being scared of other beings. And Giddy says to her,
everything different scares them.
Because the human beings are human beings. And also they've been stuck on a spaceship for at least 200 years. I feel a lot of times in space movies, or even just in sci-fi, thriller, or action movies where big catastrophes happen, the military comes in and is usually an aggressive force, but not necessarily the villain. This movie does not go in that direction. It is inherently told from the perspective of the natives of the planet that the humans are trying to colonize, and the military is in itself framed as the villain. Jim, Lieutenant Stanton, does end up sacrificing himself for the sake of Terra. I liked Jim, especially when he got over to xenophobia. And with the big white meanie gone, the humans and the Terrarians live in peace and harmony, and they work together to build new civilization, and they build a statue in Jim's honor, and it's like kind of sweet by the end of the movie. I didn't really know whether this should be a pro or a con because the captions were all accurate, and it was clear that like somebody, not a machine but a human being, had done the captions, had done work on them, but then they were also on both sides of the screen, not at the same time, but like it's still a lot of work to have to read one end of the screen and then move to the other one. Those were all of my pros, so now going into cons. There isn't like a lot of dialogue for the first 15 to 20 minutes of the movie, and that's not inherently a bad thing. There just like wasn't anything for me to really comment on. Dennis Quaid gets kidnapped. I don't know what this character's name is. He's Mala's father. Humanity is on this spaceship looking to colonize another planet because they blew up Earth, Mars, and Venus.
Eventually, humans exhausted their world's natural resources. Two neighboring planets, Mars and Venus, were terraformed. The colonies demanded independence. It meant war. All three planets were destroyed.
This movie went all in with the the humans mantra. There's definitely a missing scene somewhere. After Mala brings Jim to her house, there's like one day where he's like freaked out by her.
Giddy. It's one of them.
But she's also supplying him with oxygen. And then like the next day, they're having a conversation like they're just two long lost friends that really haven't seen each other in a really long time and just haven't caught up and don't know who one another is anymore.
You made this? For me?
Rather than not knowing who one another is at all. The humans keep attacking the native Terrarians for like no other reason than colonization. There is absolutely zero prompting on the part of the aliens to have the big white military meanie come in and blow them up. I know there are metaphors in there. I'm trying not to give the white creators of this movie and the white cast and the white characters too much credit for these metaphors, because when you don't have a diverse cast or crew or cast of characters, in the case of an animated movie, those metaphors tend to get lost, given that characters and people of color are really the ones that those metaphors affect. The metaphors don't end up working as well when you don't actually put the work into diversifying your movie. See also Zootopia. There's like no expression on any of the human beings. I could understand if it was like you only gave over-the-top expressions to some of the main characters and didn't focus so much on the secondary characters or even the characters that only show up in one or two scenes, but like none of the human beings had any expression in their face whatsoever. And I don't know if that was intentional. Like, was it supposed to be that way because the human beings are really terrible in this movie? The story is really advanced and it looks like they tried to do a lot with the CGI, but it kind of just looks like the first Toy Story, which was amazing in 1995. To be fair to this movie, Toy Story didn't even really know how to handle human characters until after The Incredibles. So imagine me, barely knowing anything about this movie, literally only watching it because Chris Evans is in it somewhere, waiting to hear his voice come through one of the aliens, only to realize about 20 minutes in that he's one of the humans.
Hey, Jim. I missed you, bro.
This is the first movie in a while in this series that Chris is not one of the main characters in. He's a secondary character. He plays Luke Wilson's brother in this movie. He's kind of a villain for a little while because he's, you know, one of the military men that takes a while to like convince that what the military is doing is evil. Okay. So early in the movie, like before the humans ever come to Terra, Mala and Justin Long's character Sen are like out flying, like the disabled character in Avatar style. Like Mala creates these flying contraptions. They have like mechanical wings basically. But then we go back to their civilization and I realized that the aliens don't have legs, they float. They levitate. A little bit later, Mala goes and like floats out into the night without her little flying contraption. My question here is, why does Mala need to make a flying contraption? And why does she have to worry about falling at a certain velocity out of space when she floats? Maybe I don't know that much about physics, but shouldn't she be able to like control that? 'Cause she flies. There seems to be some kind of altered level of gravity on their planet too, because since they don't have feet, they don't walk, they just glide everywhere. I'm just trying to figure out why she should be concerned with trying to fly if she already does it. The humans think that they're at war, but the humans literally started the war. Nothing prompted them to go to war with the Terrarians, except that they're like greedy and hungry and lonely and running out of oxygen in space, and instead of, you know, trying to work with the natives, they just straight up go right for the kill. General, by any means necessary, freaks out when 2 of his officers or whatever are like blown into space and obviously killed.
2 more human lives lost.
But then when the big battle comes and Jim is like,
The Terrians are flying new ships with more powerful weapons.
and the big bad white meanie, by any means necessary general is like, oh, who cares? Anybody that dies today will be remembered by history as a hero. But you don't get both. You can either freak out over the 2 people that died uselessly, or you can not care about them because it's 2 people and you've got a whole army ready to go to war with some random peaceful alien civilization. You cannot have both, friend. Those are all of my pros and cons. My arbitrary rank is from Alyssa Ulinetti. How similar characters' reactions are to what my reaction would be to any given situation. So, you know, I'm not a Terrarian. So, like, my experiences are not going to be everything that Mala's are or everything that Jim's are, because I also don't live on a spaceship my whole life trying to find a planet so I could have some damn oxygen and water. I feel like Jim's reaction to learning about Mala's culture is more akin to like my kind of reaction, but I also try not to have the kind of initial reaction that he does of just like immediately hating everything about it, because that's xenophobia. On the other hand, like, Mala is very like brave and very stubborn, very curious, and I think I can be all of those things. I think I can definitely react the way that she does to certain situations. If something happened to somebody that I really loved, I probably would do whatever I needed to go and help them and find them and bring them home. Yeah, we'll go with that. The Imdb score is a 6.6. The Rotten Tomato score is a 5.52. I gave this movie a 6.5, which is my first half-point score, because I liked it more than I liked The Perfect Score, but I didn't like it quite as much as I liked Cellular. And the total score for Battle for Terra is 18.62. I had not seen this movie before. Like I said earlier, I had not even heard of this movie before. Am I glad that I've seen it? Yeah, sure. It's good. I don't think it was a waste of time, and it was free to watch. So would I watch it again? If somebody I knew had the need to watch it, sure. Why not? Next up is Street Kings, which I also have never seen and didn't hear of until I did research for this series. But Keanu Reeves is in it, so how bad could it be? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please click the bell below so you don't miss any of our future videos. If you're not already subscribed, please do so down below as well, especially if you'd like to see more videos on Disney, intersectional feminism, pop culture critiques, Christravaganza, and more. One of us will see you real soon.